Welcome everyone to In the Kitchen today, our Friday. And I thought as we are getting close to the American Thanksgiving, and I know us Canadians already had our Thanksgiving, so we did turkey rolls, so tofu turkey rolls. We've also done an orange salad, and we did something. All right. I have my garlic and a little bit of stock in here already. I added it in, and I'm adding in the onion. This is going to be for the gravy. And I'll make as much gravy as I want. And there you go. We have mashed potatoes and gravy. Very good. Oh, these are great. Yum.
Thank you.
Welcome everyone to In the Kitchen today, our Friday. And I thought as we are getting close to the American Thanksgiving, and I know us Canadians already had our Thanksgiving, so we did turkey rolls, so tofu turkey rolls. We've also done an orange salad, and we did something else for the Canadian Thanksgiving. So I thought we would finish it off. This week we're doing my mashed potatoes and gravy. And let me tell you that my family ate it all up. It went before the turkey gravy went. And I always like that when we make things that are plant-based and everybody loves them. And I'm like, don't eat it all, because you can eat anything that you want. I'm limited to what I can eat. So anyway, I've got things going here. As I'm going, I'm cutting up some onion that I'm going to put. I've already got things started here so that we can get going. Also exciting today is we got some onion here that I'm going to throw into my pot, and I'm going to just move to my other camera. I think you will be able to get this. All right. I have my garlic and a little bit of stock in here already. I added it in, and I'm adding in the onion. This is going to be for the gravy. So I've added that in. I've got it on kind of around a medium heat. And this is an oil-free way of cooking. And you can saute the onions and the garlic here, get it nice and soft. So I got that going. And I can add more liquid as the liquid here evaporates. And you can really also caramelize the onions and the garlic by just keeping an eye on it, moving it around, and keeping it a little less wet on the bottom than I have it here. But on this, at the same time, I have some, you can see on top of that, this is some plant-based milk. Some oat milk works really good, or soy milk works good for mashed potatoes. And I've added some garlic to it. And I've just got that heating on a medium heat on the back burner. So this is going to infuse the garlic into the potatoes. So these are going. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put some mushrooms in the oven for our mushroom gravy. Oh, and I want to show you something. Yes. And then we're also putting our potatoes on. So we're going to have a lot of stuff going here at the same time. I just want to watch this. Let it go. Bring it down. All right. Gonna turn it down a little bit, add a little bit more liquid so it doesn't. I'm adding more liquid because I don't want it to burn. All right. And we'll let that go for a second while we do our next thing here. Oops. Let me go back to see if I go back to me here. All right. So we're going to do two more things here. We're going to get together. Now you can do this as you need. What I like to do is I like to get my potatoes going earlier in the day so they get cooked and I don't need to be fussing. And you know that thing when you're making a big dinner, like a Thanksgiving dinner, where you have to get everything kind of comes in all at the same time. So I like to get my kids while they're watching TV or watching, there's lots of football games, I think, in the US on this Thanksgiving. I get them to peel the potatoes for me, and I get put them on early so they're ready beforehand. I don't need to worry about them. So what we're going to do is we're going to roast the potatoes in the, the mushrooms in the oven, and we're going to put the potatoes on what I call a low and slow. So I'm going to try this. See if you can see I'm cutting up my mushroom. You can use whatever mushrooms you want, but it's nice to use a variety or some of the culinary mushrooms. Like I've got portobello ones, and what I've done is I've scraped off the back of it. And how you can tell if your mushrooms are fresh is that there's a membrane, and the more of that white membrane you see, the fresher the mushrooms. These ones were okay, but I'm just going to chop them up. We can use our knife skills here. Just chop them up. And then I'm just going to put them into the oven at 350. And I've got a few regular white mushrooms here as well that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use some parchment paper. Now, what I find, I've tried to use oil to kind of keep the mushrooms from drying out. And what happens when you use oil is that mushrooms absorb everything. So when you're washing your mushrooms, you want to just take a damp cloth and wipe them off and not get them all, hang on. You don't want to get them all wet and put them and wash them in the sink, because then they absorb all of the mushroom, like the water. So I'm going to put these onto I've got a baking tray here. We use pizza trays. You always with parchment paper. And I've got a few just white mushrooms that I bought at the store as well. And so it's about 2 to 3 cups. I'm like loading them up because I love the mushrooms. You can also buy the dried mushrooms and get some other flavors going, like the porcini mushrooms or something. We don't get them fresh. Put them in a pile so that they don't get, if they're in a pile, they won't dry out as much. Usually you want to spread everything out, but for the mushrooms, we're going to put them in a pile. And I'm just going to add just a smidgen of vegetable broth. So I'm using President's Choice vegetable broth, organic. That's a Canadian brand. That's a reasonable price. I'm just going to get them a little wet and moist. And I'm going to roast them for about 10 minutes at 350 with a little cover over them to keep them from drying out. Then I'm going to take the cover off and let them roast for the other 10 to 15 minutes until they are beautifully roasted. Yum. All right, so we'll put that in the oven, and we're going to do our potatoes. I got to say, ladies, I ran out of pots. I have a small thing of potatoes in a big pot because I just want to demo them. I would not cook a small amount of potatoes in a big pot. And when I'm cooking for my family, we make extra potatoes, so we have mashed potatoes for the next day. So I'm using russet potatoes. You can use yellow potatoes. Both of those are great for mashing. And when you get the recipe, I have a little note on which potatoes are good for what. So I've got these russet potatoes. My family would not eat them with the skin on. If your family will eat them with the skin on, you can mash the potatoes and you don't need to take the skin off. That's kind of a limiting belief, I think, that we grew up with. And I already know my kids would not eat it if I didn't cut it off, if I didn't take the skin off. So what I did, and these are organic potatoes, what I did is I took the skins off. I washed them. I washed the potatoes with the skins on, peeled them. I took the skins and washed them, patted them dry, put them in the air fryer with a little bit of garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, and a touch of salt. And look at these potato crisps. Oh, this one's really nice and crunchy. That's why you can make your own potatoes skins. You're not wasting anything, and that makes a great snack out of your air fryer. I'm just going to cut this one into bite-sized pieces because then they cook faster. So I'm just doing kind of bite-sized pieces here. I'm going to cut them up, and I'm putting them into my pot. Now, as I mentioned, I would not use this big pot other than I ran out of pots for this demo. So I'm going to use a big pot. So I've got 3 to 4 bigger sized potatoes is what you can make more. Definitely make whatever you want for your family. I'm sure if you have a bunch of people coming over, it's going to be more. All right. So I'm just going to cut up 3 potatoes again. I'm just doing bite-sized pieces so they cook faster. And I'll just do that. So then what you do is you add a little bit of water to the bottom of the pan, not a lot. Just this is the long and low. This is the way to preserve the most of the nutrients. And so you just barely cover the bottom of the pot with some water. I don't need a lot. So I just did that. I'm going to put the lid on. So make sure you have a good fitting lid. Going to put this on the burner on high heat with the lid on. And I'm putting it on high, and I'm putting a timer on so I don't forget, because I have been known to burn them if I forget. So I'm going to put the timer for 2 minutes. What you want is you want it to heat up just until this lid is hot to touch. And then once it gets to that point, you'll turn it down to a low heat. Now, if you have a gas stove, when you get to low, it might be a little too hot, and then you might need a deflector or diffuser to put on. It's basically a metal plate so that it doesn't get so hot. And then you just let the potatoes steam in the pot on a low heat until they're ready. And so now I've got everything on. And again, you can do these things separately. You don't have to do them all at once so that you're overwhelmed. But of course, I'm doing a demo, so it's different. I've got my mushrooms cooking in the oven. I have my, we're going to get ready to do the rest of our demo here with to make our gravy while our potatoes are cooking. And we're going to mash our potatoes with a little bit of infused oat milk with garlic, and voila, we're going to have mashed potatoes and gravy. I love this stuff. All right. Gives me a great, I always eat well on Fridays, I have to say. All right. So let's get I'm going to turn back to my stove and turn it on that for you so that we can move back and make our gravy. Yum. So we have our tape. This is good. We have our onion and our garlic here. So I'm just touching my pot here. You can see I'm just touching this pot, and it's not quite hot. I'm going to give it 1 more minute, and then I'm going to turn it down and just leave it to cook on the stove on a low heat. All right. So now for our mushroom gravy, I'm going to take a couple of tablespoons of nutritional yeast. I love nutritional yeast, so I'm going to use a couple of heaping tablespoons. I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of tamari sauce. Roughly, and leave that there. Stir it up. Now I'm going to take my mushrooms out of the oven. Here, I've got roasted mushrooms. I'm going to take those out. My lid is hot now, so I'm going to turn that down to low. And I'm just going to put the mushrooms with the mushroom juices into my pot here for our gravy. Yum. And we're just gonna let that sit for a second. So get all those flavors melded together. Yum. Yum, yum, yum. Now, yeah, so let's get that. Now, I would normally let this go for a few minutes. And then when we're done that, we add in a couple of cups of vegetable broth here. So this will really thicken up the gravy with the mushrooms. And now I'm just going to let that come to a boil and simmer on the stove until I'm ready for it. Very good. You could add a little bit more garlic powder and onion powder if you would like. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over to the others. Well, let me see what I'm going to do. Let that cook. And I have my potatoes that have been cooking on the back burner. Now you can see our potatoes are ready to go. I'm going to move the gravy to the back burner here. So we can do the, you guys have already have a masher for your mashed potatoes. I have two ways that I can do it for mashing potatoes. Let me just show you. Here's my masher. Back to me. Good old-fashioned potato masher, just by hand. I also have a potato mill here. You put the potatoes in and stir. This will get rid of all the lumps. And there's other ways. You can buy other mills that are like a press to really get all of the lumps and get a really smooth potato. I happen to be I just do it like this and hope that I get most of the lumps out.
You're old school, Deb. You're old school.
Yeah, it's easier, you know, less cleanup. I love it that way. All right. We're gonna put some of we've got our garlic infused liquid here. This has been going with the garlic. And I'm going to strain it so that I don't get the garlic chunks in. Just add some of that. And it's nice to add the warm liquid because the potatoes are starchy. And I'm just going to. Now, if you want a little bit more garlic in them, you can add a little bit of garlic powder as well. If you'd like a little bit more garlic in them, it's up to you. And if you're doing, you know, what we do sometimes is we just put the garlic powder in. And also you can make your potatoes by boiling them the old-fashioned boiling way. Old school way, Kathy, old school way. Boil them. But this way you can save a pot. And two, you're keeping all the nutrients. None of the nutrients are going into your water, the potato water. However, there, look at that, beautiful. You could add some salt if you want to, and that's fine. One of the other things with the potatoes, if you do boil them the old school way, what you can do is save the potato water and use that instead of the broth. Just use the potato water and then you're saving yourself. All right. I'm going back to my mushroom gravy here. So these are now, I've got the mushrooms here ready to go. And don't let that simmer for, I would say, 15 minutes or so if you have time, because that's just going to get more and just really enhance and bring out the flavors of your mushrooms. So you can do that. You don't need to wait. And now we're ready to go back. Oops, I gotta go. Oh, check this out. Went to the wrong thing. All right, I'm back. So now we can blend up. Where you have two ways that you can blend up your gravy. If you want it really nice and velvety smooth, I would recommend putting it in your blender. But if you want it chunky, you can use your immersion blender and do that. That'll probably be more chunky, but you could use the immersion blender. I'm going to use the regular blender. And all I'm going to do is be careful because it's hot, but I'm going to pop my liquid, my mushrooms and gravy into the blender here. All right. So let me move you guys back so you can see me doing the blending. Here we go. So now we're going to just blend this up. Put my lid on. And I'm just going to blend it up for you. Right. Now you notice I didn't use any flour for my gravy. It thickens with the mushrooms. And if you want to thicken it even more, I'm just going to test it. It's not bad. If you want to thicken it more, you could have put in some flour, but we're doing gluten-free. So here I have more potatoes, my batch from yesterday. You could just add some potatoes to it. So you could save maybe one or two chunks of potatoes from your mashed potatoes, add it to your gravy, and blend it up. And then that's a great way to thicken it without using flour. I think it's easier that way. So now I've got a thick gravy here. All right. Now the good stuff. Let's put it together. So what I would do is put this back into the pot and let it heat and just until you're ready to serve. So you can make your gravy in advance. You could make your potatoes in advance so that you're not pushing yourself into this like totally chaos last minute thing. You know, that last minute is like, it's crazy. I'm just going to put got my potato skins here. And let me get a little bit of gravy and mushrooms. A little bit of potatoes and gravy. Yum. Add on my gravy. And I'll make as much gravy as I want. And there you go. We have mashed potatoes and gravy. Yeah, let me bring you closer. See if there's no questions today. We're missing some of our people. Any questions?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something when you were doing the potatoes, you mentioned either potato infused with garlic or garlic infused the potatoes. What does that really mean? Because I see infused on sometimes I see it on restaurant menus and I really don't know what it means.
Oh, so what it means is that all I did, first of all, heating your liquid, potatoes are starchy. They're good for you. There's no issue with them. But they are starchy. So adding a hot liquid kind of keeps that starch from kind of, I don't know if coagulating is the right word, but it's actually better to use the hot liquid. But when you infuse your oat milk or your plant-based milk with garlic, what you're doing is you're adding the garlic to the pot and heating it up and letting it heat for, I think, about 20 minutes so that the flavors from the garlic are go into the milk. And that's how you get the garlic infused oat milk. That's really what it means. So when they're infusing it, they're just basically adding the flavor of another food into that food itself. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
I don't know if I said that, but it's all good. Yeah, and you can, if you like to have a lot of garlic, you don't have to do the garlic. If you want to add more, you can always add more and make it to your taste. My kids come and they dump even more on it. And I just want to say, potatoes, I always say this. I actually saw somebody posted this, actually, Rip Esselstein, who is one of the plants, he's with Plant Strong. His dad is a famous plant-based cardiologist. And I saw him this week actually talk about potatoes and how they get a bad rap, and they're actually very nutrient dense. They're actually one of the most complete foods on the planet. They have more potassium than a banana. They have vitamin C. They have B vitamins. They have iron and magnesium. They are a resistant starch, which helps our gut for our gut health. They also help with serotonin support. So serotonin is it's the happy hormone. So it helps with serotonin. They have fiber and antioxidants that are concentrated in the skin. That's why you want to eat the skin of the potato. And they are so nutritionally complete that they have a sustained entire populations. And if you've ever heard of Andrew Spudfit Taylor, his claim to fame is he actually was very overweight. He was depressed. He was at the point where he was suicidal. And he just had this trouble food dictated him, and he didn't like it. And that really depressed him, as well as being overweight. What he did is he decided he was going to eat one food and one food only. So take out all the choice of foods, just eat one food for a whole year. And he did research, and he was medically supervised by a doctor. He chose potatoes. He ate nothing but potatoes for 1 year. He documented it on, I think his brother started it. He started documenting it on Instagram for his own journey, and his brother did something and it blew it up became viral. And he's turned his life around. That was how he did it. So
there's so many types of potatoes. Was there a specific type that he tried, or
any type of potato is good? Sweet potato, there's Japanese sweet potato, there's russet, mini potatoes, red potatoes, white potatoes, yellow potatoes, and many, many more different varieties of sweet potato as well. All of them are good for you.
So no wrong choice. That's good.
There's no wrong choice of potatoes. Very good. Oh, these are great. Yum.
Thank you, Debbie.
And these, I got them, I put them in the air fryer for we had an air fryer and it broke. And I bought myself this Ninja that I wanted it for the slow cooker, but it also has an air fryer in it. The thing is big and clunky and it doesn't fit in my kitchen, so I don't use it a lot. But I think I'm going to air fry these a little more to make them crisp. But eating these right out of the air fryer, what a great snack. So that's a great way to eat.
Oh, air fryer. Oh,
air fryer, yeah.
Put them in the air fryer. Oh,
just put the tomato. I added a little bit of seasoning to it. I did paprika, garlic, not garlic salt, garlic powder, onion powder.
and
I added a little bit of vegetable broth to kind of mix it around, and then I put it in the air fryer at 350 for about 15 minutes. I think I'll put them in a little longer and crunch them back up. What a great snack you can have out of your potatoes. Now the potatoes I'm using are organic. if you're not using organic, you may not want to do this with the potato skins. Potatoes are now on the Dirty Dozen list. This is the first time ever potatoes have been on the Dirty Dozen list, which means that they are heavily full of pesticides when they're regular conventional farming, which is really sad, but that's the way it is. So you may not want to do it if you're not using organic potatoes. All right, but they're good. They really are. Beats potato chips, which I don't eat anymore. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, if there's no more questions, I am really excited because I am going to an art show. I don't know if you know, one of our regulars, Helene, is actually an artist, and she is at an art show in Toronto. And I said that I would come support her. So I think I'm gonna take her some mashed potatoes and gravy and go and check out her art show. And so let me pop the recipe into the chat for you. And I hope you enjoy. For those who are in the US and having potatoes and gravy for your Thanksgiving, this might be an alternative that you want to try. All right. And I'm going to enjoy my mashed potatoes as well. Take care, everyone. So
Thank you,
much
Debbie.
love and have a great weekend.